Hey everyone, my name is Laurent Saint-Pierre, but everybody calls me Larry, and I am the Community Enablement Manager for ShareGate, a Montreal-based company that builds software for IT pros working with SharePoint and Microsoft Teams. We recently released our report that highlights the latest Microsoft productivity cloud trends and looks at how Microsoft 365 usage has changed in the wake of COVID-19. You can find the link to our free State of Microsoft 365 report in the description down below. Our team surveyed over 800 IT professionals representing a cross-section of all industries, all company sizes, but we also analyzed anonymized data from ShareGate tools. So today, in order to highlight a few key takeaways, I am here to discuss the top 5 can't miss SharePoint and Microsoft 365 migration trends of 2021. More companies are seeking the benefits of cloud migration and migration to cloud-based Microsoft 365 environments. Last year was a huge year for cloud computing, of course, in the wake of COVID-19. We saw that Microsoft had a dip in on-premises revenue as more and more companies are shifting to cloud-based productivity tools in order to support distributed work. At ShareGate, we saw similar trends when we looked at the data from ShareGate Desktop, our SharePoint migration and content management tool. The number of ShareGate Desktop users performing on-premises SharePoint upgrades decreased by 19% in 2020. On-premises migration and data management operations decreased by 60.63%. Operations to migrate from on-premises to cloud increased by 37.2%. And cloud-based operations jumped by 50.1%. In addition to using data from our products, we also sent surveys to a lot of customers, mostly IT admins, to ask them what had happened in 2020 in terms of migrations in their environment. So we saw that more than half of them had actually migrated to a SharePoint Online or Microsoft 365 environment during the year, while only 15% had upgraded to a newer version of SharePoint on premises. All of this evidence helped to prove a point that's been happening for already a few years now. The cloud is no longer an option, it's the default solution. In 2020, speed was the name of the game. We saw that the pandemic accelerated the shift to distributed work, and that had an impact on migration projects that were happening across the world. So we saw this acceleration in answers in our survey. We saw that more than 50% of respondents had migrated to SharePoint Online or Microsoft 365 during the year. But we saw that within those respondents, 83% of them had their projects move on schedule or accelerated because of the pandemic, and accelerated from 1 month to over a year. We also saw that nearly 60% of organizations migrated SharePoint or Teams content, or a combination of both, within the same tenant in 2020. As one respondent said in the survey, he said, "We're not completely migrated to SharePoint yet. We had to accelerate our migration in 2020, but only focused on the urgent stuff. Additional data will be moved in the coming months." So we saw that some parts of the migrations were accelerated because some things were more urgent in order to support distributed work. More companies are running cloud-to-cloud migrations and data management operations. Microsoft is being used globally by millions of businesses. We've all seen or heard of the numbers, and those numbers translate in essentially 1 in 5 corporate employees are actually accessing Microsoft 365. And while cloud has become the de facto solution, especially in 2020, here at ShareGate, we saw a rise in cloud-to-cloud migration. So people migrating from SharePoint Online, Microsoft 365, or Teams from one tenant to another tenant. Cloud-to-cloud migrations increased by 68% in 2020 and included transfer 144% more data. This trend also extends to content management. So IT teams reorganizing content within their environment, moving it to different places, just cleaning it up. And that also extends to work that's being done after a migration from cloud to cloud. So when you migrate from one cloud to another, then doing some cleanup after that action. In 2019 and 2020, about 73% of content management operations took place in the cloud, while only 27% were on premises. The rise in cloud-to-cloud migrations makes sense to our very own Benjamin Nyland, who's one of the 3 MVPs that we interviewed for this report. He says, as people will need to migrate less and less from on-prem to the cloud, the only migration that will be left will be from cloud to cloud. Eventually, everybody is going to be in the cloud. Number 2, the ability to migrate Microsoft Teams is now essential. With the global shift to distributed work in 2020, the use of Microsoft Teams became an integral part of how companies worldwide would be working throughout the year. Numbers reaching up to 145 million daily active users on Microsoft Teams, which is completely huge. With so many active users, content in Microsoft Teams isn't just growing, but it's becoming more valuable to us. So the ability to migrate Microsoft Teams is no longer a nice to have, it's actually an essential. So you need to be able to migrate your Microsoft Teams data with you. So in May 2020, we released our Microsoft Teams migration feature, which allows users to migrate content to Teams, reorganize Teams, migrate content from one team to another. And we looked at the numbers and the usage of those features, and the numbers are telling. In the first 6 months, ShareGate users migrated or completed over 25,000 actions using our Teams migration tool. And within those migrations, we saw that our users migrated over 80,000 channels and over 60,000 teams. And as the numbers keep growing, and as users' needs will continue evolving and Teams usage continue to increase over time, we think it's fairly safe to say that Teams migration isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And finally, number 1, the cloud is no longer a possibility for businesses, it's the default solution. In 2020, we saw the importance of the digital workplace shape before our eyes. Pandemic forced companies to move faster or sooner than expected to adopt the cloud and that distributed workplace. We saw with our ShareGate desktop users who executed migrations to the cloud that those migrations went ahead 50% faster than migrations done in 2019 and the years before. With remote being here to stay, and with it the ability to migrate and manage data seamlessly is more critical than ever. Learn about more trends in digital transformation and Microsoft productivity cloud computing in our full report, State of Microsoft 365, Migration, Modernization, and Security in 2021. Get data-backed insight and expert recommendations to better leverage Microsoft for your business. The report also outlines what makes for a successful, scalable, and secure distributed workplace now and in the future. Access your free copy by clicking on the link in the description down below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. We've got lots more video content in the pipeline, all aimed at IT professionals working in SharePoint, Microsoft 365, and Teams.